Welcome back to another episode of Local Search Tuesdays. This week I'm sharing some shocking breaking news. Google My Business is no more. Okay, yeah, that intro was a little clickbaity. Google My Business isn't really gone, it's just rebranded again. G&B has been rebranded and now it's called Google Plus, Local Places for My Business Profiles on Google Maps by Google.
What the?
Okay, just kidding. It seems like every few years, Google decides to change the name of the local listings product. Considering the fact that there are still tons of people who call it Google Places, I'm sure this new name change is going to take a while to catch on. Back in 2005, Google rolled out the first local listings product under the name Google Local Business Center. Google had rolled out the Google Local product the year before. That's what we now call Google Maps. But when Google launched the Google Local Business Center a year later, it was confusing to have that and Google Local, so they renamed Google Local to Google Maps. But then, in 2009, the Google Local Business Center was rebranded to Google Places. That name only lasted a few years because in 2011, the name changed again. This was right in the middle of the big failed Google Plus experiment, so they rebranded the local listings to Google Plus Local. After a few years, Google Plus wasn't going so well, and Google rebranded the local listings product yet again. In 2014, the name changed to Google My Business. At the time, most of us rolled our eyes at the name, talking about how awful it was and how it didn't sound right to refer to profiles as Google My Business listings. But the name stuck, and the acronym G&B rolls off the tongue naturally now. So here we are in 2021, and Google has decided to rebrand again. The new name for local listings is Google Business Profiles. And of course, everyone is up in arms, making the same complaints they made 7 years ago when the name changed to Google My Business. Is it annoying? Sure, a little bit, but really, Google Business Profiles makes a lot more sense and is less awkward sounding than Google My Business. Think about it. Every time we were talking to anyone about their local listings, we'd call it your Google My Business. Saying your and my like that is super awkward. I do have to admit that I'll miss the G&B acronym. We've all been using it for years and it rolls right off the tongue. Now we'll be talking about your GBP, which may not be so bad here in the US, but that's going to get super confusing in the UK. Supposedly, the G&B app is going away and businesses will be able to edit and manage their GBP directly in the SERP. No one's sure what happens with the old dashboard, but I'm sure it's not going away. Maybe it becomes more of a multi-location tool. We'll have to see when the new features are fully rolled out. So that's the news. G&B is now GBP. And that's all the time we've got for today's episode. So you know what that means. Put your hand on the screen right here. We totally just high-fived because you learned something awesome. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you again next week for another episode of Local Search Tuesdays.